What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today let's get started with Alex Pereira rejects UFC fight. Heading into his UFC 300 title defense against Jamahal Hill, Alex Pereira made it clear that in an ideal world, after defending the title, he would turn around and fight at UFC 301 in Brazil. Unfortunately, a broken toe will keep Pereira from pursuing Ronda Rousey's record for the shortest time between successful title defenses. According to Magomed Ankalaev, he's eager to fight Pereira in Abu Dhabi later this year. During a recent interview, Pereira reacted to the fight offer. He said, "I don't want to fight at the end of the year, I want to fight sooner, so maybe that shows Ankalaev won't be ready." I don't know why he said that. This guy's complicated. Honestly, I have to see what's best. I'm here to fight, but I don't understand best about other things like where's best to fight and where isn't. If I have to fight there, I will, but if it's not a date I want, then it's not best for me. I can say no. With things up in the air regarding a bout with Magomed Ankalaev, the UFC could look to book a rematch between Pereira and Jiri Prochazka in the wake of the former champ's win over Alexander Rakic at UFC 300. Next up, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley reveals plan for Ryan Garcia fight. After Ryan Garcia's show-stopping performance against Devin Haney over the weekend, UFC bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley has shared an update with fans regarding a potential fight between the pair. During a recent episode of his Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley spoke about the situation.
They told me you can do a boxing fight 100% if it makes us enough money. So the option's there. Just has to be able to make enough money. But Ryan being a freak like that, you need two A sides to make a Floyd Conor fight. I'm not there yet. I still gotta become bigger. I gotta be
two more
sick performances, then we're talking about being able to do whatever.
But maybe
In response, Ryan took to Instagram, firing shots at O'Malley while writing, "Man bun / Conor clone wants a boxing match. I wanted MMA, but let's do it. That's my brother's name. Now I have to destroy you. Lil Pony cannot defeat me." O'Malley then responded in the comments, simply writing, "Let's do it." With a fight against Merab Dvalishvili next up for the bantamweight champ before the end of the year, a boxing match against Ryan Garcia could potentially be on the horizon in 2025, depending on how things play out. Next up, let's take a look at Max Holloway's team reacts to Ilia Topuria fight. Max Holloway's stunning knockout win over Justin Gaethje at UFC 300 has positioned the former champ as the next man in line to contest for the featherweight title. Although Ilia Topuria has made it clear that he doesn't want to fight Holloway unless his BMF title is also on the line, the former featherweight kingpin has indicated that he's confident a deal comes to fruition. During a recent interview with Luke Thomas, Holloway's coach Ivan Flores opened up on the potential matchup, breaking down Topuria's skill set.
With Topuria, I think he's a pretty good boxer. I think his hand speed stands out. It looks like he punches pretty hard. And he's aggressive. He's got a lot of confidence. But the biggest physical takeaways would be that he definitely has hand speed. I would say, in a way though, he almost seems like an oversized bantamweight. Just because his frame and his stature, and then along with his speed, it does seem like he's like kind of an oversized bantamweight a little bit. That has the attributes and has the skill to fight up at featherweight.
As Holloway's coach also indicated, their team likes the former champ's chances against a fighter who uses a lot of pressure given Holloway's counterpunching abilities. While no targeted date has been given for the fight between the two, the expectation seems that the pair will throw down before the end of the year in a bout that will surely produce fireworks. Next, let's take a look at Sean Strickland gets called out. Former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman is eager to build on the momentum of his recent win over Bruno Silva back in March. Although the stoppage and subsequent win were both controversial given the slew of eye pokes Weidman landed during the fight, the All-American is eager to test himself against another former champion, Sean Strickland. Speaking on a recent episode of Michael Bisping's Believe You Me podcast, Weidman respectfully called out Strickland, indicating his desire for a step up in competition.
I would love that fight. I got a lot of respect for Strickland. I think it would be a fun build-up. I think he would bring me out of being such a nice guy. I think we could trash talk a little bit, have some fun. I would love that fight. I like his style. I like that he pushes the pace. I like to push the pace. He likes to get that guys tired. So I like to test myself against a guy like that.
Strickland, of course, is expected to face off with Paulo Costa later this year in a highly anticipated middleweight collision that's been several months in the making. With the outspoken and oftentimes controversial middleweight eager to return to title contention, Weidman will likely have to take a different fight in the meantime in order to return to the top 15 before getting the attention of Strickland. Now let's shift gears and take a look at UFC coach breaks silence on Conor McGregor's return. Ahead of the highly anticipated return of Conor McGregor, fans have been eager to hear what Coach John Kavanagh has to say about the Champ's training, given his lengthy layoff from training full-time. With preparations underway, Kavanagh spoke with Severe MMA to discuss the situation.
He's looking super slick. There is fighters that when they're not fighting, it starts becoming a job. It does. The passion and my love of this, it's a job. And it's hard to keep the level of intensity, even if it's not physical, the level of mental intensity of always thinking about training, always thinking about sequences, always thinking about techniques. That's something Conor's had naturally his whole career. So even though there was times where he's off filming and he's doing this, he's doing that, we're still always having conversations back and forth. He's come back on the mats as sharp as ever. Of course, we've got to get the rounds in and get the conditioning up so as to be ready for competition, but his technique is as sharp as ever.
As he explained, he sees similarities in the upcoming fight between McGregor and Chandler and the Irish star's UFC 189 win over Chad Mendes in 2015. Given the stylistic matchup, Kavanagh predicted the fight wouldn't make it 2 rounds, saying that although the fight might be scrappy, McGregor's power and sharp techniques will be the X factor for the former champ. Next, let's take a look at Jiri Prochazka reveals move to middleweight. In a surprising move, former light heavyweight champion Jiri Prochazka has revealed he's open to making a drop to middleweight in the future in pursuit of 2-division champ status. While there's been talk of light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira potentially moving up to heavyweight, Prochazka is instead more interested in a move down. While speaking in an online press conference on his YouTube channel, he opened up on the situation.
Spíš než těžší váhu, tak jsem přemýšlel, že spíš vyzkoušet i tu 8-4, protože teď s tím, jak cítím svůj metabolismus a to tělo, jakým způsobem mě pracuje v té přípravě, tak vím, že kdybych tu stravu upravil fakt tomu, kde fakt se cítím skvěle a čistě, tak vím, že bych tu 8-4 potom s nějakou lehčí dietou prostě zvládl. Ale to je v plánu, to bych určitě plánoval nebo cílil po zisku titulu 9-3.
The comments caught many by surprise given that Prochazka's frame seems to be perfectly suited for light heavyweight, and a drop down to 185 could be incredibly draining. In the immediate future, of course, Prochazka is expected to remain at light heavyweight. As previously mentioned, should Magomed Ankalaev stand his ground on a fight later this year rather than competing on Alex Pereira's timeline, Prochazka could find himself right back in the mix for a crack at the light heavyweight title. Next, let's take a look at Dominick Cruz gets called out for UFC 303. While fans have been calling for a rematch between Dominick Cruz and Cody Garbrandt, former flyweight champion Deiveson Figueiredo is eager to test himself against Cruz after finishing Garbrandt at UFC 300. While speaking in an interview, Figueiredo called out Cruz, indicating that he's simply waiting on the former champ. He said, "People are throwing some names at me, but what I really want is to fulfill a dream of mine, which is to face Dominick Cruz. Dominick has a big name and everybody knows the history he has in the UFC. He works for the UFC and is always on the spotlight, and I hope to one day get to fight him. I think he is an opponent that could take me to a title fight. I'm staying ready. For me, it would be sensational to fight on the McGregor card in June. That depends on Cruz signing the contract, and I'll be ready." Fight fans may recall that this isn't the first time a fight between the two was in the works. Last summer, the pair were rumored to be fighting one another, with Figueiredo indicating he was just waiting for a contract to arrive for a fight in September of 2023. While Cruz has remained absent from competition since his 2022 loss to Chito Vera, the former bantamweight champ revealed following the loss that he had no plans to retire. With Figueiredo now ranked 6th in the division and Cruz ranked 11th, it will be interesting to see how things play out. Joe Rogan gets exposed after Ronda Rousey came out on a podcast and said that he turned his back on her, and exposed his true self after her losses in the UFC. Here's what Ronda had to say.
You know, it was really disappointing just to see how happily everybody had turned on me, and how, people like Joe Rogan, who were crying in the ring out of the honor of being able to call my fights, had people I considered friends in the media so quickly turned on me. And but the MMA media hates me. It's fine. No, not a single person has called me or anything like that. They've all just doubled down and said that I'm making excuses or lying or blowing things out of proportion or not giving credit where it's due. Or I'm not waiting for it. And I get that they're a bunch of assholes. That's what I get. I get fuck you. But at least I would rather not have those fake friendships in my life. I would rather that those people expose themselves and I don't, leave myself open to them.
Here are our top comments from last video. Imagine being stuck in a group discussion with Aljo, Bilal, and Hill. I'd rather join Max for 10 seconds in the middle of the octagon. Jamal, they don't like me personally. Bro, we don't know you personally. Man, nobody cares what Jamal has to say at this point. This whole controversy is ridiculous. They clearly set back up and tap gloves. Pereira didn't just wave Herb off and sucker punch him. Hearing Aljo talk about somebody taking your back and just staying there is hilarious.